Dear students, welcome back to the online sessions on analog electronic circuits. In today's session, we'll try to start with doing with problems. So for doing problems, what is important in power amplifiers is the analysis. So you have to analyze the circuit. So if you know how to analyze the circuit, then we can easily do the problems on the power amplifiers. So in today's session, we'll try to cope up with class A type of power amplifier, and class B we'll see in the next session. Because what is so important is class A, class B are the two important power amplifiers we have in the syllabus. Most of the time, the problems have been asked in these two types of the power amplifiers. So that is why I wanted to concentrate on doing problems on class A and class B type of the power amplifier circuits. Okay, let us quickly go into the problems now. We discussed about differences already between the voltage amplifiers and power amplifiers. So once again, I just put here some of the advantages or differences between the voltage and power amplifiers. In the case of voltage amplifier, the transistor used is usually going to have large current gain, whereas in power amplifiers, transistor used is usually going to have a low current gain. That is, a beta value would be somewhat low in a power amplifier in comparison to voltage amplifier. And the next important difference is the coupling. We prefer RC coupling in the case of voltage amplifier because we use ordinary transistor in the case of voltage amplifier. When it comes to the power amplifier, we use a transformer coupled amplifiers. We prefer transformer coupled amplifiers. So class A is directly fed or series fed is not preferred in the practical applications. So amplifier amplifies both the audio frequency and radio frequency signals in the case of voltage amplifiers. There is a reason why the fifth unit, known as the radio frequency amplifiers, are tuned radio frequency amplifiers, comes under the radio frequency amplifier signals, comes under RF amplifiers. So therefore, the amplifiers are going to amplify both the audio as well as radio frequency signals in the case of voltage amplifier. When it comes to the power amplifiers, it amplifies only the audio frequencies. That is the important thing. So it amplifies, the power amplifiers amplifies only the audio frequency signals significantly, and hence it is called as audio amplifiers. So we can call power amplifiers as audio amplifiers. Why? Because they are meant to amplify the signals at audio frequency range only. Therefore, we can either call this as audio amplifiers also. And one more difference is going to be that distortion. In the case of voltage amplifier, distortion analysis is not important. We don't even care about the distortion in the case of voltage amplifiers. Why? The reason is this: in the voltage amplifiers, the Q point is always going to be at the center of the active region, and we always see that we never operate the transistor in the cutoff or in the saturation regions. We always see that the Q point is always maintained at the middle of the active region. So due to that reason, what happens is there is no question of any distortion in the case of voltage amplifiers. But when it comes to the power amplifiers, distortion analysis is a very important aspect. Okay. And coming to the voltage amplifiers, the parameters, we are always going to calculate 4 different parameters. 5 in fact, that is called bandwidth also. 4 different is going to be input resistance, output resistance, voltage gain, current gain, and bandwidth of the amplifier. Whereas when it comes to the power amplifiers, 2 are the important things. What are the 2? That is efficiency and the distortion in the amplifiers. Because we know that power amplifiers are meant for audio frequency range, so we never go for calculating the bandwidth or a frequency response for the power amplifier circuits. So these are the basic differences which we have understood. Okay. And we explained earlier the operation of the amplifier circuit by using this graphical representation with the DC load line. This is an important concept. So on the DC load line that is called Q point, you're going to have the input excursions. If input is increasing, accordingly the output is going to decrease. That means it is inverted. Input is going positive, output will be going negative. If input is going negative, and in this region, if you see, output is simply going positive. That means the C amplifier is going to give us an inverted response or inverted output waveform. Inverted output voltage is the result of the CE amplifier circuit. Okay. So this is what we are actually doing. Now, whatever excursions that we are getting on the bias voltage. Bias voltage is known as VCEQ. Or if it is going to be a current graph, we always going to draw on the bias current called as ICQ. Or if it is going to be base current, the current is normally treated with respect to the IBQ. So this ICQ is known as the biasing current. IBQ is known as the base bias current. ICQ is known as collector bias current, right? So because of the application of VCC and the biasing network, we normally going to have the biasing currents. So these biasing currents are going to drive the transistor, which we already know earlier from the earlier discussions. Okay. So therefore, various power amplifiers are defined based on the position of the Q point on the load line. That means on this load line, it is based on where the Q point is lying. Based on the position of Q point, we normally going to segregate the amplifiers as class A, class B, class AB, class C, class D type of the amplifier circuits. So therefore, the position of Q point on the load line is an important factor to know about the type of the amplifier that we are using in power amplifier circuits, right? So if it is going to be at the middle of the active region, it is called class A type of the amplifier. It is exactly same as the C amplifier. As per our previous discussions, we already had that. Okay. Now we discussed about the simple CE amplifier. Now this amplifier is simply called as series fed directly coupled power amplifier. So why it is called directly fed? Because the load resistance RL is directly connected to the collector, that is output terminal. Therefore, it is called directly coupled class A type of the amplifier circuit. So it is going to be done with a fixed bias, directly coupled class A power amplifier, or can be called as series fed directly coupled class A type of the power amplifier circuit. And here RC is replaced by the load resistance RL. And the drive current to this transistor is normally coming from VCC, RB, base to emitter and ground. That means this is how the drive current is flowing. From VCC, the current comes through RB to collector to base, then ground, and once again from ground to VCC, VCC to once again RB to VBE ground. So this way there is a closed loop path. So the current is normally going to go through this particular closed loop path. Thereby, because of this IB, this transistor is normally going to get its base drive. Okay, base drive current. So because of this IBQ, that is called IB biasing current, we say that transistor Q is in the on condition. If transistor Q is in the off condition, we say the IB current is equal to 0. That is what we normally going to have, right? Now, since RL is connected to the collector directly, we call it as a directly coupled power amplifier circuit. Now, what is the amount of power? The overall circuit handles large power in the range of few tens of watts without providing much voltage gain. The complete input cycle is being transmitted here. That is why the power is also going to be more in the case of the power amplifier circuit. Okay. So we usually explain the operation of the amplifier with the help of the output characteristic graph. On this, we show the waveforms, and by showing the waveforms, we explain the operation. Now, as it is going to be a simple CE amplifier, we explain the operation with respect to the same characteristic graph, output characteristic graph using the load line, using the DC load line curve. Right. Now in this load line, if you observe carefully, what is most important is that the single peak is VM. See, for doing problems, we should know what is VM. We should know what is V peak to peak. We should know what is V min. We should know what is V max. We should know IBQ, right? We should know IM. IM is, that means IM, VM are known as single peak currents and single peak voltage values. V peak to peak means what? It is peak to peak, maximum peak to the minimum peak. So these are the voltages, right? So that means Imax is the maximum current that is possible. Imin is the minimum current that is possible. Similarly, Vmax and Vmin are the output maximum minimum voltages. Now to find out the characteristics, to speak about something on the characteristics, you should first of all get the KVL equation from the output loop of the circuit. Now if you come to this circuit, now apply KVL to this loop. VCC minus ICRL minus VCE, okay, minus 0. That means in the output loop, if you apply KVL to this output loop, we'll be getting what? We'll be getting the KVL equation at the output side. That is VCC is equal to ICRL plus VCE. Okay. So let us suppose if you're looking for the current, so I'll try to get in terms of current. So IC is equal to, I can take this ICRL is equal to VCC. VCE I'll take onto the LHS side. So VCC minus VCEQ. So I can write IC is equal to RL will simply come into the denominator of this right hand side part. So I can have VCC by RL plus minus 1 by RC into VCE. So here we are going to get the slope of the load line going to be equal to minus 1 by RL. What is the meaning of minus 1 by RL? The slope is nothing but decreasing slope. If it is plus 1 by RL, we call it as increasing slope. If it is minus 1 by RL, we simply call it as a decreasing slope. Now from this equation, we can say that we will be having a decreasing slope. That's what we're getting the load line as a decreasing slope line. If you go on find out the slope, we normally going to get a decreasing slope. That is why the line is simply coming in a decreasing order. Now, how do we select the value of RB? It is basically selected in such a way that the Q point would be adjusted at the center of the active region for a proper operation. And the beta value is always, as we said in the differences, the beta value, there is a current gain value, would be somewhat less than the voltage amplifiers. The beta value of power amplifier is less than the beta value of the voltage amplifier circuit. So these are the things which we have the differences here. Now coming to DC operation. DC operation means what? We should get DC power and DC currents. When there is no input signal, what are the DC currents flowing through the circuit? IBQ and ICQ are the DC currents flowing through the circuit. Now, how do we get IBQ? Go back to the circuit once again. Let us see IBQ. What is current? Current is equal to voltage by resistance. Now, what is the voltage that we have here? For this current, it is VCC minus VBE by RB is the current, that is called IBQ, is the bias current, that we can simply consider it as going to be called as a bias current. So therefore we can just simply going to get the bias current. Let us look into the bias current now. See, VCC minus VBE by RB is the bias current. VBE generally would be 0.7. ICQ is the collector bias current, which is equal to beta times IBQ, because we know what is beta. Beta is equal to output current by input current. In the case of CE amplifier stage, output current is ICQ, input current is IBQ. For power amplifiers, we only consider the CE configuration. We don't consider CB, we don't consider CC. configurations to construct a power amplifier circuit. So therefore, always the equation for ICQ is equal to beta times IBQ in the case of power amplifiers. Now, what about VCEQ from the output circuit? We can simply say VCE is equal to VCC minus ICQ RL. So when you write this equation, that output circuit should come to your brain. That means output circuit, what we have in the output circuit, we have VCC, we have the load resistance RL, then we have collector terminal, then it is connected to ground. So if you apply KVL to that loop, so we can just simply going to get VCEQ as something like this. And we have got, we can write DC power input. What is a DC power? It is a DC voltage into DC current. DC voltage is applied voltage VCC, and DC current is nothing but the bias current due to the applied voltage ICQ. So therefore, this is the formula for PDC or input power, because power amplifier is going to convert DC power into the AC power. So therefore, both are important for us. The average current drawn from the DC power supply remains same even after the application of the AC signal. Now, there is a problem with this, class A type of the power amplifier circuit. Even though there is no input signal, but still we will be having a power dissipation in the circuit. That is what the major drawback, due to which the efficiency will come down drastically. The power utilization is very less, loss is going to be really more in the case of the power amplifiers. In the case of class A series fed type of the power amplifier circuits. So operation is inevitable. We know the basic operation of CE amplifier, same operation. We just going to put it over here with the application of input AC signal, the varying output voltage, output current deliver and AC power to the load. So now we have two important things called V peak to peak, VM for doing problems. So what is VM? VM is nothing but V peak to peak by 2. Okay, I think you are understanding this. V peak to peak is what if you take a sine wave, maximum voltage and a minimum voltage by 2 is nothing but VM. That is what we mean by V peak to peak. I mean by saying this is something like, I'll show you here. So this is VM. What is this VM? If it is a symmetrical waveform, we assume always symmetrical signals. So this is VM. This is also going to be VM. That means Vmax minus Vmin by 2, or Vmin plus Vmax is equal to V peak to peak by 2 is nothing but VM. That is the point we are writing here in the equation. See here, for analysis, you should write the equations. Then only you can able to do the problems, because in problem he may ask you to find out VM or V peak to peak. You should know the analysis. That means, let us, theoretical part we have done, so we are doing problems. That is why I am focusing only on the analysis part, not on the theory part. So VM is nothing but V peak to peak by 2. So V peak to peak is nothing but Vmax minus Vmin by 2 as it is. Similarly for IM, the maximum peak current, the maximum single peak current is IM is equal to I peak to peak by 2. Same story, Imax minus Imin by 2. I'm normally going to have it here. Now, if you are writing the equations for the AC voltage, AC currents, we always write in terms of rated AC voltage and rated AC currents. What is the rated AC voltage? It is RMS voltage. So therefore, Vrms is equal to, formula is there, Vm by root 2. You should remember this formula. See, for doing problems, you should remember the formulas. Then only you can do the problems quickly. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck. Next, Vrms is equal to Irms into RL. According to Ohm's law, we can write this same form. Vm I can write as equal to Im into RL. That means all using Ohm's law, you can just use all these combinations. Now, AC power delivered by the amplifier to the load is normally expressed by using the rated RMS values. That is known as RMS values or maximum values. So, the AC output power represented by using RMS values as Vrms into Irms. Now I can just simply write down this in terms of only I or in terms of only V. In terms of only current, I can write this as I square, IRMS square into RL, VRMS square by RL in terms of voltage. Peak voltages means what? VRMS is equal to VM by root 2. IRMS is same IM by root 2. So we can write this as VM IM by 2. Right. If at all I want only in terms of current, I can just get IM square into RL by 2. If at all I want to get only voltage case, I can just simply write VM square by 2 into RL. So using peak to peak values, what we can have now? PAC is equal to VM IM by 2. So VM is nothing but what? V peak to peak by 2. IM is I peak to peak by 2. Thereby I can write V peak to peak into I peak to peak by 8. This is 2 into 2, 4. 4 into 2, 8. Right. This is the formula I can have. So V peak to peak is what? V max minus V min. I peak to peak is what? I max minus I min by 8 as it is. So this is known as the output AC power. What is efficiency? Efficiency is nothing but the amount of power transferred to the output. It represents the amount of AC power delivered to the load or amount of power transferred to the output circuit from the DC source is known as efficiency. Okay. Now, formula for efficiency is what? Output power by input power, general formula. You should know this formula. So output power by input power. What is the output power in power amplifiers? It is the AC power. What is the input power? Obviously, the supply due to the supply voltage VCC. So PDC into 100. PAC just now we have got V max minus V min into I max minus I min by 8. Same thing I'll write. By PDC is VCC into ICQ. Power is equal to voltage into current. As it is DC, we'll write it for the, we'll write the voltage and current for the DC notations. Now, for maximum efficiency, we will assume the voltage and current swings to the maximum value. See, in the previous earlier graph, for explanation sake, I gave this graph. If you observe this carefully, Q point is adjusted to the center of the active region, let us say. Now this V minimum is not 0. V min can be still, V in can be stretched up to 0. V max can be stretched up to VCC. VCE can go up to how much? VCC. So V max can be stretched up to VCC. V min can be stretched up to 0. Similarly, I max can be stretched up to IC sat, called VCC by RL. IC sat is equal to what? VCC by RL. That is a maximum current that can flow through the transistor circuit is VCC by RL. VCC is fixed, RL is fixed. Therefore, IC sat is also fixed. It won't change. Now, due to the input voltage, your overall output current, that is called I max, should not go beyond this IC sat. That care we have to take when you operate the transistor circuit. Okay. So if it really happens, then it is known as distortion. If you apply the input voltage amplitude such that the output current is normally will try to go beyond saturation, which is not possible, and that much portion is simply going to get clipped off at the output side. So we won't get any output signal above the saturation level. That means saturation current is simply going to work like a threshold value. Above the threshold value, nothing is going to come. Therefore, the signal is going to get clipped off. That is the problem here. So therefore, you should be careful while you're going to operate the transistor. It should not cross, it should not go beyond the saturation values. That is what the important point here. So to get a maximum efficiency, what can we really do? I can stretch V minimum, V max to the maximum point. Similarly, I max, I minimum. If I stretch this I max to the maximum, V minimum to the maximum, then what is going to be this value? This is ICQ. This is the Q point, no? Above Q point is saturation is called ICQ, maximum bias collector bias current, maximum collector bias current. Now same value is going to be here also. Therefore, the peak to peak value of this swing is equal to 2 into ICQ. Now what about the peak to peak value of this swing? It is 2 times VCC. This is this is going to be VCC from 0. It will go up to VCC. So it will be up to VCC maximum. It is current is going to be 2 times ICQ. See, this is important for doing problems, because we're doing problems. So you should analyze the circuit. Mathematically, you have to analyze the circuit. Now let us look into the efficiency formula. What is the formula? It is going to be Vmax minus Vmin into Imax minus Imin by 8 into VCC into ICQ is the formula. So what is Vmax? Vmax is VCC. What is Imax? Imax is equal to 2 times ICQ from 0. Okay. Now rest of things is as it is. We'll write. So VCC, VCC, ICQ, ICQ on the numerator denominator will get cancelled, and we simply going to get here 1 by 4 into 100, which is equal to 25% maximum. That means this is the maximum efficiency that we can achieve for a class A type of the power amplifier without transformer coupling. So without transformer coupling, we call it as a series fed class A type of the power amplifier. Now this is the major drawback of this type of the power amplifier. The biggest disadvantage of class A power amplifier is its very low efficiency. The efficiency of class A power amplifier without transformer coupling is maximum 25%. That means any value which is going to be less than 50% is going to be of no use in the practical applications. Therefore, we never use this type of power amplifier called as class A power amplifier in the practical applications. Now, let us look into the power dissipation. What is power dissipation? The amount of power lost in the circuit is called as power dissipation. Okay. So what is power dissipation? Input power minus output power. We are given some input power. We got some output power. So in between, what is the difference between these two? It is known as the power dissipation. It is known as the power dissipation. So therefore, the DC power input without AC input signal is the maximum power dissipation. Now, when the AC power is 0, say for example, we did not apply any AC input signal. If you don't apply any AC input signal, what is PAC? It will be 0. So even though we don't apply any external input signal, but still you're going to have the PDC. We're going to have the power dissipation. See, this is the drawback of this circuit. The power dissipation is going to be very high in the case of the class A type of the power amplifier. Efficiency is very, very low in the case of class A. These two are the major drawbacks in the case of the class A type of the power amplifiers. So what we can say, the DC power input without AC input signal is resulting into the maximum power dissipation. What is that? VCC into ICQ. Usually VCC is going to be a large value. ICQ is also reasonably a large value. So therefore, power dissipation is also going to be maximum. This is the major problem in this particular circuit. That is why I don't prefer this circuit at all. Okay. So that is why. Next, what are the drawbacks we can say? The drawbacks is something like efficiency and this one. What are the advantages? Very few. That is simple to design. Circuit is simple to design. Circuit is cheaper, less number of components. But performance wise, it is very poor. Okay. Disadvantages, so many disadvantages are there. Load resistance is going to carry the quiescent collector current. That means load resistance should not carry the DC currents, but it is carrying that. This causes considerable wastage of power. The power dissipation is more, and hence heat sinks is essential in power amplifiers. High output impedance, and hence cannot be used for low impedance. That means maximum power transfer is also very less. Efficiency is very less. Therefore, we don't use the class A type of power amplifier. Let us look into one problem, simple problem. Okay, very simple problem. This is a series fed class A power amplifier operates from a DC source and applied sinusoidal input signal and an applied sinusoidal input signal generates peak base current of 9 milliamperes. Yeah. And the applied, now the writing of data is crucial while doing problems, right? So therefore, you should read the data more than once so that you can simply write the given data comfortably. Otherwise, what happens? You write wrong data, he'll give something different data, you'll write something different, and your answer will simply jump. Okay, so therefore, try to read the data correctly. Now let us see. An applied sinusoidal input signal generates peak base current 9 milliamperes. Calculate its quiescent current ICQ, VCEQ, DC input power, AC output power, and efficiency of the circuit. Now he has given the values as RB is equal to 1.5K, RL has given, VCC given, beta given. VBE can be assumed as 0.7 volts. Right. That is the maximum voltage which we can really take at saturation, under the active region. We have to always operate transistor in the active region. Therefore, we are taking VBE as 0.7. If we are operating transistor in saturation region, we take VBE 0.8 volts. So therefore we are taking VBE as only 0.7 volts. Okay. Now, ICQ, what is ICQ is equal to beta times IBQ. So beta, what is beta value? 50, it is given. What about IBQ? So IBQ, what he has given is something like applied sinusoidal signal generates peak base current. So it is the peak base current that we will be getting as something like 9 milliampere. That means peak base current means it is inclusive of the biasing current as well as the output current due to the input signal. So we are getting the ICQ here. Okay. So we can write here 50 into IBQ. 50 into IBQ means IBQ is 9. Okay. Now the given data for the base current. What is the given data for the base current? An applied sinusoidal input signal generates peak base current of 9 milliamperes. That means due to the input AC signal, the output current is going to get resulted, and he has given the increase in the peak base current as 9 milliamperes. So we should get output current, that is IM is nothing but IC. So we should get in terms of IC. That's what you have to keep in mind. So first of all, we'll try to calculate the ICQ. So ICQ is equal to beta times IBQ. So beta is given as 50 into IBQ. IBQ, generally we have given one formula here. What is IBQ formula? Let us go back. Get into the IBQ formula now from the circuit diagram. IBQ is equal to VCC minus VBE by RB is the formula. So VBE we are going to take as 0.7 by RB. Now by substituting all of them in this equation, we will be getting this IBQ some value. Okay, and that value is going to be like we'll be getting around 12.86 as the value for IBQ. Okay, so into 50 and we'll be getting 643.50 milliamperes. Next one is VCEQ. VCEQ is equal to VCC minus ICQ into RL. VCC is 20, ICQ just now we have got 643.50, and RL is given as 16 ohms, 9.7 ohms. That is called VCEQ. So what is PDC? PDC is equal to VCC into ICQ. So VCC 20 into ICQ, when you simply multiply these two, you will be getting 9.7 volts as PDC will be getting as 12.87 watts. Then PAC we have to get. What is PAC? PAC is nothing but equal to IRMS square into RL. We know the standard formula. So what is IRMS square? IRMS is equal to Im by root 2. Whole square is nothing but Im square by 2. Now in this formula, you're going to get Im. What is Im? Im is the collector current, single peak collector current. So that single peak collector current is not given directly for in our problem. What is given? Single peak base current has been given as 9 milliamperes. Now we know the equation for collector current. It is beta IB. IC is equal to beta IB. So 50 into 9. 50 into 9, that is called 450 milliamperes. So 450 milliamperes whole square divided by 2 into RL. So when you compute that, you're going to get PAC as equal to 1.619 watts, right? So once you know these two, just simply PAC by PDC turns to be of efficiency 12.58%. See the efficiency, it is really very, very low. Any value which is less than 50% of efficiency is nothing but a poor efficiency. Therefore, it is really a poor efficiency. Maximum efficiency itself is 25%. Now we are getting only 12.58%. So very poor efficiency is the result of the class A series fed power amplifier circuit. The next case is going to be the transformer coupled class A power amplifier. At the output stage, we normally going to have the transformer. So what is important in transformer coupled is that the turns ratio, the voltage transformation ratio, current transformation ratio, and impedance transformation. These four are the formulas which are very important for solving problems. So now we know the transformer is going to have the primary turns N1, secondary turns N2, primary current I1, secondary current I2, primary voltage V1, secondary voltage V2, load resistance say RL. So turns ratio formula is what? N2 by N1 you should know. N2 by N1 is the turns ratio, and the voltage transformation ratio formula is nothing but V2 by V1 is equal to N2 by N1. You should know this formula. Current transformation ratio is equal to I2 by I1 is equal to N1 by N2. It is reverse of voltage transformation ratio, that you should keep in mind. Then impedance transformation means what? The secondary impedance, that means RL. Where is RL? RL is on the secondary side of transformer. When you take this RL onto primary, what is its equivalent effect on the primary? That is what you have to simply calculate. That is called RL dash. And when you calculate, find out the equation, we get RL by N square is the general form we normally going to have. So RL is nothing but resistance at load, that is load voltage by load current, that is V2 by V1. RL dash at the input side, V1 by I1. So V1 by V2, I can substitute as something like N1 by N2, I know. So V1 is equal to, we can write N1 by N2 into V2 when I cross multiply. This is equation 1 I can take. Similarly for I1 by I2, I1 by I2 is equal to N2 by N1. So I can have this equation 1 and equation 2. Equation 3 is this one. Now from equation 1 and 2, these two are the equations we have. From equations 1 and 2, in 3, what we get now? We have in equation 1 V1. From equation 2, we have I1. So I can write V1 as N1 by N2 into V2 by I1 as N2 by N1 into I2. So when you simply perform this task, I'll be getting RL dash as something like this: N1 by N2 into V2, N2 by N1 into I2. And RL dash is equal to, I can write this as something like N1 by N2 whole square into V2 by I2. So what is V2 by I2? It is the RL, secondary load resistance. Okay, so therefore RL dash we can write as equal to simply N2 by N1 is nothing but N. Therefore this factor, when I take it in denominator, then I'll be writing this as RL dash is equal to RL by N square. That means a high voltage side is always a high impedance side. A high voltage side is always high impedance side. Since RL dash would be greater than RL for a step down transformer case, right? So these are the formulas which we have to use to solve the problems for class B type of the power amp, class A transformer coupled amplifier circuit. Even we use the same formulas for class B also. We use the same formulas for class A transformer coupled amplifier. Okay. So these are the formulas we should remember. In next session, what we do is we'll try to solve problem on class A transformer coupled amplifier. Then we switch over to class B type of the power amplifier. Okay. Thank you very much for today's session.